What's going on, everyone? This is Marco once again in my journey and process in joining the California U.S. Army National Guard, particularly in the Officer Candidate School program as well. I just got done with my full physical test from MEPS in San Diego. So yeah, like I mentioned last week on my video about the MEPS, I came to San Diego and did my physical over here. It was a lot different than the one in Riverside when I did my ASVAB test. It was definitely a lot bigger. There's approximately over 60 people. Half of them were apparently already getting booted to boot camp for this upcoming Monday, and the other half were there for the full physical. So that doesn't even count the ones that came in at a later time to take their ASVAB test and all that stuff. But going there, I got there about 4:40. We lined up. I was able to find it because I did stay at a hotel that the National Guard allowed me to stay at, which was only 5 minutes away. Like I mentioned, I live in Menifee. That would have been about an hour commute. So I took advantage of that free stay at the Marriott. And after that, my roommate that I had, because you do get a roommate at the hotel that you'll be staying at, he was there the day prior to my physical exam, so he knew where to go. So that helped out, because once again, I was there. When I showed up, there was no signs, nothing indicating where to form up, nothing indicating where the test was going to be, or nothing stating that this is where all the candidates have to be. But luckily my roommate and I met up at the MEPS parking lot. He showed me where it was at, and luckily he showed me, because all it was in an open area with an orange cone. It had no sign, had nothing describing that this is where candidates were going to be. So luckily I was with him. I formed up. Later on, more people showed up. The bus showed up, or two buses showed up. And like I mentioned, before 5 o'clock, we were already over 60 people, 60 candidates. And we lined up, and half of us were there for the full testing, where, we had a staff saying, this is what we're going to do. Once we walk into the facility, make sure you have everything ready and out of your pocket. That way you go through a metal detector. They were definitely a lot more strict than Riverside was, because at least in Riverside, they spoke to you, more in a polite manner, if you want to call it, which is fine with me. But when if you're 17 to 20 years old and this is your first time going through it, it's kind of difficult to kind of maneuver where you have to go, what you have to take out, such as your ID, Social Security, any paperwork that you may need. Like for me, I had to take my examination form that was given by my recruiter, so that way they have a copy. I took my Social Security just in case. However, that I can recall, no one used it or needed it. They did look at my California driver license though to identify who I was, and then they gave me my sticker, so that way I could walk through the facility and people know who I am. So yeah, I walked in, checked down with my liaison, who told me I could use their office to store my my belongings for safer keeping. So they had my phone, they had my wallet, my keys, and like I mentioned, for MEPS, you cannot have any type of Bluetooth device. That includes any type of cell phone, smartwatches, and earbuds. Anything that's Bluetooth compatible cannot be carried inside the facility. And after that, we walked in. We were taken into a briefing room where one by one everyone gets their blood pressure checked. This is where I had another issue where I guess my blood pressure was high. I was going 140 to 150 over 80 and 90. I don't know much about it, but I can't really say anything about it, because as I got older, let alone being a law enforcement officer, I guess my blood pressure just automatically rapidly got higher because I never really had no issues before. So I don't know what it could be. It could be my work, my stress, prior law enforcement experience, my family, obviously my bills, and I'm obviously getting older. And then I do have, some family history on it, so that could also be an issue. But, luckily, they just told me that I had to go see a doctor later on and wait about 20-30 minutes to see, if it goes down or if my blood pressure can come down, because, I've never been diagnosed with any type of blood pressure, nor do I take any type of medication for it. So that happened, and after that, I got my vision checked, where you get both of your eyes checked to see if you can see, towards their standards. You'll also look through a book which contains the colors, so that way you can see colors properly, towards their standards once again. And once I completed that, I later went and got my hearing test. So your hearing test is for both of your ears, to make sure that you can hear to a certain capacity that, it's military standards. From there on, we had to go back to our briefing room, because at this time it was about almost 8:30 or so. So at this time the command was arriving, and they're the ones that are going to give the presentation of, the things that you can and cannot do while in the facility or in the military. Kind of like I mentioned earlier last time in my Riverside ASVAB test, where they'll talk about, discrimination, sexual harassment, and stuff like that. After they were done, medical staff showed up and gave their presentation on what to expect, what they were going to do, what they weren't going to do, and go from there. And once that finished up, we all got a breathalyzer exam to make sure no one was intoxicated. I don't know why a person would show up intoxicated, but probably wouldn't be the first time. I'm pretty sure someone has seen it, or someone probably has done it. And I'm not sure what happens if they are intoxicated. So if you've seen it, or if you're one of them that was intoxicated, feel free to let us know what was the outcome on that, or let us know if someone got booted or something happened to that candidate that was intoxicated. After that, we got released, and we got back to I had to do my urine sample, which the urine sample obviously is going to determine any type of possible drugs or alcohol that they state. And this one might be uncomfortable for certain people. It's not like your ordinary urine sample where you go into a restroom by yourself and pee in a cup. For example, for us, there was 4 urinals, and 3 of us walked in, and you had to take one step back from the urinal and piss in a cup, while a military personnel was right there watching you. They just want to make sure that you're the one providing the urine. So just be mindful about that if you're going to do anything like that. After you are done there, you will obviously close it up. They'll seal it for you. They'll put it in a different cup, seal it with your name, tag it with your name and your initials. And then after that, I got released and went to go get my blood sample. I'm assuming it's the same thing, possible drug or alcohol use, or any type of issues that you may have in your blood system, possibly. Just be mindful. I don't know how or why there was many people that were fainting or struggling through it. For me personally, I've never had that issue. But there was many people that had that issue. So if you're one of them, just letting you know that you will get your blood taken there, and from there you'll just get released. If you feel lightheaded or anything like that, let the staff know, and they'll help you out. They'll let you, lay down or sit down, whatever, to make you feel comfortable. That way you can recuperate from, your fatigue or lightheadedness or anything like that. And, that way you can move on to the next one. After that, I was taken to another room where that's where you will get your weight and your height. So every military branch has certain standards that they have to meet for height and weight requirement, or your body percentage fat. At my age now, at 32, with the family, I did get a little bit bigger, from working out and obviously getting older in age. So as for me, I'm 5'10", just a little over 200 pounds, and I meet the requirements for the standards of military. But they had me weight, where I later had to get like a tape measurement so they could do my body percentage fat, which it came out fine. Once they took they'll do the tape measurement around your stomach and then around your neck, and then obviously they take your age into consideration. And for me, my percentage came to 20% body fat, which I'm alright, because it's past, but definitely something that I've never had when I was younger. But that's the price you pay when you get older and you have family. So I'm so proud that I still was able to pass it, and in good tip-top shape in a sense. And then from there, I had to wait in line for my physical. The physical usually takes between 15 to 30 minutes. In reality, I don't know why it would take anyone 30 minutes, because for me, it felt like I was in there, in and out, like within 10 minutes. It was like your old traditional physicals that you do technically yearly, or at least yearly, especially if you play sports. Because for me, growing up, I played sports, and mainly baseball, throughout my life, so I always needed at least 1 or 2 physicals a year. But they do make you do a little more in these physicals, but for the most part, everything is similar. They do check your bones and make sure that you're flexible in a sense where you can touch your toes. Do arm circles, stretch your wrists, your back. Then they do this other thing that, everyone, there are videos of it where they call it the duck walk. And I thought it was gonna be a lot more difficult, but like I mentioned earlier, I still kind of play baseball from time to time. But growing up, I was a catcher, so I'm used to squatting as a catcher, so it was pretty easy. And the duck walk, it's kind of relevant to it, where you squat and you have to pretty much take steps, heel to toes, walking steps. And then you turn around and you got to redo it again. It was fairly easy for me, and at 32 years old, I'm pretty sure anyone else should be able to do it, especially if you're younger than 30 years old, because I never had no real issues when I was playing baseball or throughout high school. So that was the main one that a lot of people do talk about, is the duck walk. Not very much it. You do flamingos to make sure that you have good balance. You'll do some neck rotations to make sure your neck is fine. They'll check your eyes, your ears, your mouth. They'll check for any type of scars that you may have. I have a little wound right here from about a year ago. It's kind of still scabbing up in a sense, or kind of turning into a smaller scar, and it's from being in law enforcement. I was at the range, and one of my partners next to me, we were shooting a rifle, and one of his rifle casings launched out of his rifle, and his casing tapped me right there. And if you're aware, or anything about rifles or guns, or the casings that come out of the gun, those things come out very hot. So obviously it came and it burned me, and I until today, which has been about a year or so. I still have the scar. He asked me what it was about. I told him, I explained to him as a police officer that, it was a rifle casing that came out of his chamber and it tapped me, and obviously the heat of the casing burned my skin. He have no issues on it, obviously, because, it's something to explain. But other than that, if you have any type of medical conditions, that you can explain, just let them know, Let them know if you've had asthma. Apparently that's what they're looking for. If you've ever fractured any type of bone. Luckily, throughout my career and all the crazy stuff I did and growing up, jumping off a roof and everything, I'm really thankful that I've never broken anything. So luckily for that, I've never had any type of serious injury, never had any type of surgeries, which they will ask you also. So yeah, if you've had any surgeries or if you've ever had to stay overnight at the hospital, they'll ask you, and obviously just let them know. I'm not sure of how they'll dictate, the length of your physical, but obviously for mine, it was, like I mentioned, felt for me like I was in there for like 10 minutes. While I was in there, I got also my blood pressure rechecked, which I was able to bring it down to like 130 over 80. Like I said, I'm not sure if that's still good, but the doctor approved it. And after that, I got cleared. Just had to wait for, some of the staff there to input and complete all my information. So make sure, I can't speak for other MEP areas, but for the one in San Diego, just make sure you do not leave prior to them telling you. So you just wait there, and somebody will, finish off your database or whatever they're inputting all that information in your file, and then they'll call you up and let you know that you are done, and you're free to pretty much go to the front desk. And then after that, I went to the front desk, who then they'll pass you on to the liaison, where I went back to their office. They told me to just drop off the stuff, my paperwork, and then I took a copy of my medical forms that they inputted into my medical records. I got my phone, my keys, and my wallet back. Then I got sent back to the front desk, and that's where I got released. That was pretty much it. But just be mindful when you're there. Just pay attention. It's not that difficult. Yeah, sometimes you will have staff members being rude or anything, something like that, or along those lines, or you might even take it, or you might perceive it as rude. Just be mindful that they're there. They have to do their job, and that's pretty much it. But other than that, I had a good time there. Just be yourself. That's the main key. While I was there, I noticed a lot of people that were nervous, and compared to Riverside, of course. But in this one, I did notice a lot of people that were really nervous. A lot of people had blank stares, and some people didn't even want to be talkative. It's really understandable, to be professional, but just be mindful. You're still human. All right, just because you're going into the military, you're still going to be human. That's one thing I took out of this. The best thing that's going to help me, in this path is because, from law enforcement, I'm still a human. All right, I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I don't care what, I hate to say it, being in law enforcement, you will have officers that, they think that they know it all and they're never wrong. It's unfortunate, okay? But, for me, I'll let you know I'm human. I make my mistakes. I'll never tell anyone that I'm always right. And I always like to hear someone else's input. Going into the military, I'm still going with that same mentality. All right? You're human. I've had a lot of great friends that were former military, now officers. Great personalities that a majority of them have. You do have your handful. I'm pretty sure in the military there might be some. I'm not sure yet. But what I've heard, obviously, there's people that have the same, big authority stuff that they want to believe or pursue. But you're only human. All right, I don't care if you're 17 going in or 45, whatever the cutoff age is. Just remember, you're human. You're gonna go in making mistakes. I know I'm going in making mistakes. Even in law enforcement, I still make mistakes. But just own up to your mistakes. That's the biggest thing. And then just take the so-called punishment while you need it. And that's what I'm taking forward in the boot camp. After I got done, just let everyone know thanks for their time, and walk out. Once I walked out, I contacted my staff sergeant, my recruiter, and he was already aware of it because he got it on his side of the computer. Told me congratulations and that everything was pretty much looking good, and that I will meet with them next week to get the final paperwork going, and to get my officer candidate school interview or telephonic interview with one of the captains, and then go from there. I still don't have much information. I will have more information next week on that, but just let me know on anything else that you would like to ask me, tell me. You can comment below. Any other type of videos that you would like me to explain or go into further details. I know for the full physical there is a lot of details, a lot more details, but obviously I can say for the most part, just go in there and do your thing like a normal person would. And obviously you are going to be stressed. It's understandable. It's early. You're going to be tired, but just go in and like I said, be yourself. It's another career. That's the best way to look at it. Always strive to do better, and someone says you can't do it, just prove them wrong. That's always been my mentality. And for me, I was blessed by my dad. So always strive for what you want to do. I know for me, I'm 32, and obviously a lot of people say that I'm getting to that age, I'm getting older, but and that I shouldn't do this, but I just want to challenge myself. It's better to always get out of your comfort zone. That way and you're able to learn different things. If you're comfortable, it's time to change something up. That way you can always exceed and improve your resume. But other than that, I appreciate it, and I'll get back to you guys next week and let you guys know how everything goes on my process and finishing up and hopefully completing everything to go into the California United States Army National Guard. Other than that, take care, guys.